Hello everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle and thank you for joining me here. So, today apparently, from Mel Magazine we have quite an interesting article, as you can tell by the headline. How men treat women they find uneffable. Sounds like a good article to me. Dozens of women say that after a change in physical appearance, like gaining weight, aging, or becoming ill, they have been either ignored or treated like dirt by men. When Anne, a 31-year-old administrative assistant in Chicago, noticed that two colleagues in her workplace were both obsessed with the New York Times crossword, she thought it would be nice to introduce them together. He was a 50-year-old guy who occasionally I go to lunch with, and I figured that they were around the same age, she tells me. I work in a big office, and often people from different teams don't ever work together. The exchange, however, didn't go according to plan. When I told him about her and suggested she was really smart, he responded by saying, "I wouldn't know," she continues. "I only speak to beautiful women." Oh man. The experience was jarring for Anne, but she says it's not the only situation she's faced like it, both with that same man, who she described as not particularly attractive himself, and others. Just a week ago, I was with a guy in his mid-30s who I was casually dating, not her boyfriend, she says. He told me, if a girl isn't pretty, I don't actually see her as a girl. Honestly, sounds like some pretty good advice. The idea that men are dismissive of women they find unattractive surfaced on social media recently after Marie Leconte called AOC's boyfriend ugly. Well, if you've seen him, he's not particularly handsome. Specifically, a bin raccoon. Backlash ensued, and the joke was derided as pointlessly mean, but Brooklyn-based filmmaker Annalise Ogard noticed that the defensiveness was inconsistent. I'm assuming all the dudes currently going berserk because someone said AOC's man is homely maintain that energy when their friends say monstrously cruel things to women they find unattractive, she tweeted. Oh, sounds like she's a little angry about her life. A lot of men interpret politeness from women as flirting because they themselves would never show even the barest courtesy to a woman they found uneffable. Man, it sounds like this filmmaker really has a few things in life that she's angry about. But what do we mean? Or what do you mean that men treat women they don't find attractive cruelly and discourteously? The response to Ogard's tweet, at the time of writing more than 1,000 retweets and 3,700 likes, indicates there's at least a feeling they do. For further evidence, I spoke to more than 40 people who report being treated this way, mostly women. However, Anna, a 30-year-old student based in Philly, presents a classic example. I lost a crap ton of weight in my early 20s and started taking care of my appearance, and suddenly the world got so much kinder, she explains. I was shocked how people started treating me differently. Yeah, that's true. She recalls visiting a mechanic and being offered to drive home so that she didn't have to walk, something that never happened when she read as less conventionally attractive, when she was thinner. That was the first time I realized that the world was opening up for me, she adds. Of course, it's difficult to determine with any certainty whether someone is treating you rudely because they find you uneffable, but it seems obvious to many women that their attractiveness is the independent variable. For some, it's clear because certain markers of conventional beauty have been recently changed. Well, conventional? I don't know about that. Like Anna's drastic weight loss, or for Sarah, a 40-year-old marketing manager from North Carolina, becoming ill. I got diagnosed with breast cancer at 36, and my visible illness due to treatment immediately rendered me invisible to the same dudes who used to sexually harass me. She says, explaining how men now dismiss her because of her bald head. No one says much now because I look uneffable and sick. They're just treating you like a guy. This is a consistent theme among women I speak to. A change in physical appearance, gaining significant amounts of weight, aging, having skin conditions that worsen or becoming ill, means they're either ignored or treated rudely by men, whereas men had generally been flirtatious, courteous, and kind before the change. It's almost as if they're getting treated the same as men treat men. Others tell me it's apparent that their ill treatment is due to their looks because of how much better they see conventionally attractive women being treated. Take Mel, a writer in her early 30s in California who says she was picked on mercilessly by boys as a teenager. They mostly saw girls as objects, and I wasn't that kind of object to them, she tells me. So they picked on me the way they never would have picked on a girl they wanted to F. I wasn't, he teases you because he likes you, teasing either. It was angry and mean. She said she'd watch boys go out of their way to be nice to other girls, and then call her ugly or tell her to shut the F up, once even putting a kick me sign on her. This was like 1955 and Back to the Future or some crap. Many women echo versions of this sentiment to me, explaining how they're consistently talked over, cold-shouldered, and belittled by the same men they watch treat beautiful women with respect and courtesy. Whether it's at the bar or the office, they receive either overt hostility and insults or freezing out they describe in the following 4 terms. I'm not on their radar. I'm invisible to them. They'll be warm with others but cold with me. They kind of treated me like they would a boy. I don't know why that tripped me up. Regardless, this is a gendered thing, though. Aren't unattractive people of all genders treated rudely and dismissively, and not just by men? Well, sort of. I notice in particular that fat people of all genders report being treated in this manner. As a fat man, it feels like most people think of me as an inherently uneffable most of the time, explains Matt, a 29-year-old office worker in New Zealand. I'm also told by several people that the male queer scene is rife with body shaming, especially on Grindr, where the no fats, no femmes, no Asians disclaimer has become notorious. Oh my goodness. An important bit of context for gay men is just how prevalent sex is as part of the culture, explains Danny, a 21-year-old teacher, also in New Zealand, who says that the dynamic makes it more socially acceptable to see and value others in the community in terms of their affability. It's practically a currency, and that's devastating. Oh no. But the fact that some men face this treatment doesn't mean the phenomenon isn't gendered. After all, it's a no fats, no femmes, no Asians. God, that's hilarious. And it's clear that while people of all genders view fatness as synonymous with unaffability, fat women are punished more than fat men. Well, it's because fat men don't have the same levels of attractiveness as fat women. You know? Let's just be real here. There's a different standard for men and women. When I lost a significant amount of weight, women treated me the same, apart from being more likely to reciprocate romantic interests, says Justin, a 43-year-old software developer in Portland. But other men felt free to talk crap about fat people, particularly fat women. People talk down to other people all the time. What do you expect? The gender nature of fat shaming is well documented. Fat women earn less than thin women and fat men, and a study of high schoolers found that fat girls experience more weight stigma than fat boys, that fat girls' body fat was more closely monitored and criticized than boys, and that girls perceived as fat, even if they have BMIs in the normal range, have a more difficult time socially. The study's author sums this up brutally. There is no social space within which it is considered normal or attractive for girls to be large. Well, I'd say the same thing for guys. But they get a little more leeway about it because that's not what defines them as attractive, for the most part. And while fat boys certainly suffer, it isn't to the same extent. Exactly. Fat guys can still get girls, one female interviewee notes, pointing to a fat boy on campus who always has girls hanging off of him, and noting that, and this is important, all these fat rap guys in the media have beautiful thin women all around them. It's almost as if there are different standards for both sexes. Also in direct conflict with the high school mean girls myth, the author found that boys were, well, the mean ones. Not only were girls teased more frequently and directly by their male peers than their female peers, the author reports, but girls also told me during interviews that it was sometimes their own boyfriends who teased them about their bodies. One boyfriend, for example, reportedly asked his girlfriend, "Why can't you look like your sister?" Oh, man. In a heteronormative social context, women and girls are punished for being fat. Well, they should be. Perhaps the most unforgivable beauty sin of all. Well, I don't think so. In a way that men and boys aren't, and it's most often guys who dish out the scorn. It's as if girls don't scorn males at all. One teen boy described himself as overweight, summed it up succinctly by saying he'd rather be a fat guy than a fat girl. Because there's different standards for both. Given the disproportionate and lifelong toll of being an insufficiently effable woman, who'd blame him? It's as if being fat means you can't work off the fat. Now, before I really get into my commentary, I'll let you know. Yeah, being overweight sucks, because I've been there, but I lost like 40 pounds, so being fat isn't the worst thing that can happen in the world. Losing an arm is much worse than being overweight. I mean, my God, it's not like you can't work the fat off. So, come on. But anyways, I love equality. It's almost as if these women are getting treated the same like men treating men. I said that earlier, and this is absolutely true. I mean, between men who don't know each other, we really don't care for each other. We could be polite, but that's pretty much it. For guys we really don't know or like, we generally avoid each other. Makes sense. Now up here at the top. So this girl, who I guess was it Madeline Holden, down at the bottom, the author of this article, recommends, or was talking about Anne here, in which Anne recommended that this older guy go on a date with this old woman. The guy's response is hilarious. I only speak to beautiful women. This girl said, Anne, said that the old woman was smart. It's almost as if men don't care how smart a girl is to be attractive. Just because you get more degrees doesn't make you more attractive. And the next paragraph is pretty good as well. One of her boy toys, not boyfriend, boy toys, even said that if a girl isn't pretty, then he doesn't see her as a girl. That's actually probably some pretty good advice for guys. Guys really don't care about females if they aren't attractive because why would they? If a girl isn't attractive, what reason does a guy want to stay around a female? What does a girl bring to a relationship besides sex nowadays? I mean, alright, you don't offer anything to me, why should I care about you at all? Now, this next quote. It's quite telling of how a female's perspective is skewed about the world. These women, they live in such a sheltered and easy life. A lot of men interpret politeness from a woman as flirting because they themselves would never show even the barest courtesy to women they found uneffable. Now this quote. Yeah, I had to think about this for a little bit, but this isn't exactly wrong, the quote itself, but it isn't quite true either. Realistically, men interpret politeness from a woman as flirting because men generally receive little to no attention from females. What was it? Within the past few months, there was a study that the unsexless rate of young men has tripled since like the 1990s. Guys just don't get attention from females generally. And when women show men politeness, men are wondering if this female likes them because it almost never happens. When was the last time a female, who wasn't related to you, showed you politeness in public? Personally, I can't recall of a time when I had a woman hold a door open for me or something like that. It just doesn't happen. But the next question asked is this. Do men treat women they don't find attractive cruelly and discourteously? Well, of course not. Women who aren't attractive are just treated like guys. Like I said before, guys just don't do things for other guys. Men don't treat each other with special privilege. Now, Anna here, she was shocked to see how guys would treat her because she became more attractive. Apparently, she was, kind of chunky. Actually, pretty chunky from her own description here. And she decided to lose the weight in her early 20s. And you know what? Guys will treat women much better if the female's attractive. Usually. Well, most guys will. She, Anna, was even offered a ride home so she didn't have to walk. Sounds like privilege to me. If you're a guy, when was the last time your mechanic offered you a ride home so that you didn't have to walk? I don't think I've ever had my mechanic give me that offer. So, next up is Sarah, a 40-year-old marketing manager from North Carolina. She unfortunately was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's not cool to make fun of, but basically she was treated as if she was uneffable. don't you think that if a guy got diagnosed with cancer as well, that most people wouldn't pay attention to him either? Like, no one cares about guys. It's as if some women are just now realizing that equality looks like oppression when you're used to privilege. Now, a change in a girl's physical appearance does affect her attractiveness. A woman gaining weight, aging or developing skin conditions, or becoming ill do have a big impact on how guys feel about girls. Now, unless you like fat girls, and there are a few guys that do, most guys just want girls who are relatively thin and young. It's just nature, you know? Most guys just don't want chubby girls or, old cougars, except for like a handful. Yes, some guys can be jerks, of course. But why would a guy just be nice to you if you weren't attractive? Guys are nice to girls because they want to have a chance to be in a relationship with a girl, or have sex, or both. Now, let's take a look at these 4 common themes that these women hear. I'm not on the radar, I'm invisible to them, they will be warm with others but cold with me, they kind of treated me like they would a boy. All 4 of these boil down to the same thing. That the women in these statements or sentences are just not attractive. You do not just get attention for merely existing. For a guy, they don't get attention. He's got to work and build himself up to get any sort of attention. Girls are born and develop into relatively attractive females. Well, most of the time. There, of course, are some uggos out there, but for the average girl, she is absolutely swimming in attention, especially from thirsty guys. Example, Bella Delphine. I guess some guys find her attractive. I don't, but there are an insane amount of guys trying to get her attention. I mean, how else do you sell out of your own bathwater to other guys? It's insane. Now, the whole gendered nature of fat shaming is really stupid. Fat women earn less than men because women generally earn less than men because of the jobs that women take. Thin women make more money than fat women because thin women generally, probably, have better discipline than fat women. I mean, there's a reason why they're fat. And thin women are given more things in life because thin women are more attractive. Just don't be fat. There you go. It's no surprise, though, that fat girls experience more of the weight stigma than boys. The only thing that a girl really needs to do to be attractive is to not be fat. And of course, people will comment on your weight as a girl because, let's be real, you offer nothing else. In 2019, what does a girl offer in a relationship besides sex? If you can't even be thin or attractive, then you're really, to a guy, just useless. Now, of course, this article likes to talk about how, high school girls experience more weight stigma. It's like as if you don't understand how teenage girls work. Teenage girls will absolutely tear each other down for anything behind their backs, especially if the girl is chunky. It's insane. And you know what? Guys that notice that girls are fat, they're like, alright, whatever. They just ignore her. Now, I like how this female here wrote about her experience or the experience of someone else saying that fat guys can still get girls. Now, a few fat guys might be able to, but I would argue a lot of fat guys don't. The example of a fat boy on campus getting a lot of girls is only because he is a fat rap guy. He works on his music, and it pays off. He has established his social status, and that makes him more attractive. Go figure. He's worked at something, and he's made himself successful. Just because a guy is fat doesn't mean he doesn't have influence or status. I mean, look at Donald Trump. He's president. He's kind of chunky, but he's still got people that like him a lot. Love him or hate him, he's a chunky guy, a little chunky. People still like him. The standards are just not the same for the sexes. Women just want to be around influential guys. Also, it just goes to show you that this woman just cherry-picked this information because imagine all the other fat guys that don't have girls either. She selected this one guy out of the thousands of other fat guys to show how women are being mistreated, and there's definitely a double standard here. I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of fat guys who would have loved to have one of those thin or even medium-sized girls. Girls only see guys at the top of the food chain, and not the rest of all the other guys, the other 80%. Now finally, some guys even told their girlfriends that they wish they were thinner. Yes, well, that can sound kind of mean at times. I mean, wouldn't you want someone who could work on themselves to be more attractive? I mean, I would. No guy really wants a fatty. I mean, if your girlfriend could be thinner and more attractive, wouldn't you want her to be? She would be healthier. I think that would be a great thing. It just makes sense. But, overall, whoever Madeline Holden is, she needs to realize that this is just equality. They're just getting treated the same way as guys treat guys, It's almost as if women don't like getting treated equally. Well, regardless, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm Brazen Eagle, and I hope you have a great day.